Hey, it's your boy Drew, and in this video we're going to discuss what it is that I disagree with Hamza on. My disagreement with Hamza really is, let's just put it this way, I believe that you should look your best at all times, and he has the philosophy that you shouldn't spend much money on like the way that you dress and your clothing and stuff like that. And I think that for the most part, that's true. You shouldn't spend a lot of money on that, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't try to look as good as you possibly could. I used to work at a restaurant in New York City called Houston's, now called Hillstone, and I remember as a server in the restaurant industry, it was really important to, at least for me, to get a job at Hillstone, because as a server in a restaurant, if you could get a job at Hillstone, it meant that you were the creme de la creme, you were the best of the best. Anyway, I got the job at Hillstone, and I remember a few months into working there, my general manager pulled me to the side and he said, "You should smile more, even when you don't feel like smiling." He said, because you're tall and intimidating looking. And I remember it got kind of awkward between us because it seemed like he was intimating that we're black. But it's the reality. I was tall, I'm like 6'3", and I tend to have like a look on my face that's kind of like this. So he said you should smile and look more pleasant. So I remember I felt like really frustrated and annoyed with that advice. But then I took it anyway and I tried it out. So instead of just looking like this, I would look like this. Constantly. And I did notice that my tips went up tremendously. What does this have to do with me disagreeing with Hamza in terms of like looking your best? Well, I think that constantly smiling or looking pleasant, it kind of relates to being presentable all the time. It really does. Another time I remember I was with a group of friends, this was back in like 2017-ish, 2016. And this was before I felt the way that I felt about looking a certain way all the time. And I was out with some friends and I was dressed in like sweatpants and like a t-shirt and like a jacket, nothing nice, like really bummy. And I met a fashion designer. And I remember thinking to myself, wow, I'm 6'3", and you know, at that time felt like I could take decent photos and felt like if the opportunity presented itself to meet a fashion designer, it would work out well for me. And I looked really bad. I looked like shit. So I remember thinking to myself, I'll never do that again. Even though I was dressed down, I should have been dressed down in the best way possible. Like, see, this is me dressed down. Like a nice form-fitted track jacket is dressed down with like a nice fitted sweatpant is dressed down. If I had dressed like that, I could have looked more model-esque to that person, perhaps, you know? So it was a mortifying feeling for me to feel that way. I vowed to myself I will never do that again. I will never be dressed down in a way that looks bummy ever again. I really think that you should consider that as well. And that's the disagreement I have with Hamza. Everything else that he talks about, I relatively agree with, you know, his views on, well, before I get into what I agree with, I think if you're going to the grocery store, if you're going to the gas station, if you're going to Target, the post office, school, the gym, appropriate for those locations, you should look the best that you can look. You never know who you might meet. You might meet your future spouse. You might meet your future boss. You might meet your future opportunity for whatever it is you're trying to achieve. And if you put your best look forward, it actually helps you be a lot more confident. You know, you're not worried about how you look, so you can kind of present your best self. This is my disagreement with Hamza. I think that if you are shopping for clothes, even if you're on a budget, look for the best quality stuff you can get for your budget. Always. Whether it's t-shirts, whether it's track jackets, whether it's sweatpants, whatever it is, always look for the best quality. Because you never know who you might meet. Could be your future husband, could be your future wife. That's my disagreement with Hamza. Anything else I agree with? His takes on fat, his takes on video games, his takes on mindset, and doing the hard work even when you don't feel like it. 1000% agree with that. 1000% agree with that. I guess I'm a little bit unique when it comes to those things, and it's probably going to be a video for another day, but I just wanted to quickly come in here and do this video, talk about the things I disagree with Hamza on, even though I agree with most of the things he says. Anyway, it's your boy Drew, and remember, smile even when you're not smiling. How do you do that?
Made it.